Nebuchadnezzar, Yamach Shemoy, he was so absolutely mind-boggled that he told him to come out. He said, come out of there already, you understand? And when he said to come out, then they walked out. He said to throw them in, and he said that they should come out. Then they would. As they were coming up the stairs from the Kibsanoes, their clothes also made a raya, their clothes. You know who Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah were? They were the friends of Daniel in the court of the king, in the court of Nebuchadnezzar, Yamach Shemoy. And after Nebuchadnezzar conquered Eretz Yisrael, he bought certain members of the royal family. They were descended from the kings, from Sarah David, and he bought them to serve him personally. He wanted to, sort of use them, and he saw they were very intelligent, beautiful people. He wanted that they should serve him and give him matas and help him. You know the whole story. And from the first day that they came, he said, I will feed you whatever I eat, you guys will eat. Whatever, my Suda is, then I will feed you the same. And it's written that Daniel went down into the kitchen on the first day that he was there, Nebuchadnezzar. He went down to the kitchen and he spoke to the chief cook. And he said, listen, he said, you should realize that we're not going to eat, whenever you bring up whatever the king eats, he said, I'm not going to eat it, and I'm sure my friends are not going to eat it. He said, you have to help us throw it away somewhere after you brought it up, because we're not going to touch it. And I want you should bring us every day some nuts. Just like Esther.
Some what?
Nuts.
Nuts?
Egozim.
Oh, some nuts, right.
Nuts. Egozim, and we're going to live on nuts. That's what Daniel said to the chief cook. So the chief cook said, listen, after a person eats only nuts, for a certain period of time, he starts, you're going to waste away, And he said, if the king sees that you guys are wasting away, then he'll take my head off. It's similar that I'm not feeding you. So he said, I can't agree. So Daniel said to him, didn't he? Daniel said to him, you know what, let's give it a try for 10 days, 2 weeks. He said, after 10 days, 2 weeks, a guy's living only on nuts. If he's going to look bad, then he'll look bad. But let's see what happens. If we look bad, then I guess I'll have to give in. If we don't, then we keep going. So it's written that Hashem made them a nest, and they lived on nuts for years, the whole time they were in the court of Nebuchadnezzar, and they never looked any different. There was no change in the way they looked, and the king never picked it up. He thought they were eating his food. They see what's Mesiras Nefesh. Vakashas, Daniel, the first day, he went down and spoke to the chief cook that he's not going to eat what the king gives him. Yeah. Wow. So, it's written that Nebuchadnezzar, years later, he built a pestle. You know what a pestle is? How do you call it? A big idolatry thing. So Tosfos learns in Masechta Pesachim there wasn't real Avodah Zarah. It was a bluff. It wasn't real Avodah Zarah. But he wanted that everybody must bow down to this, because it's like it represents him, and he wants that everybody should be, but he hasn't got enough courage to walk around the whole place having everybody bow down to him. So everybody's got to come in masses in different times and bow down to this pestle. You follow? Yeah. So Daniel, he managed to escape. He got some terrors that the king sent him away somewhere. And he wasn't there at that time, Daniel. Over Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, they were there. And they said to the king, sorry, old man, forget it. We're not going to bow down. No. So the king got very angry, and so he said, everybody else is bowing down, or everybody's bowing down, and you not? And they said, sorry. So We're not paying tax. So the king said, "Im kain, I'm going to throw you into the furnace."
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay, that's it. Throw us into the furnace." And he threw them into the furnace, and they came out alive. And not only that, they stood in the furnace while the flames were all, they stood there, and his eyes were jolting out on stalks, and he went absolutely mad, the king, when he saw this happen. And he himself told them to come out. Yeah. And then they came out. So the Medrash says that when Noah made this korban, that Hashem smelled in the korban the smell of the clothes of Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah.
Clothes of what?
So, I mean, this is pretty powerful stuff. I mean, what did he smell? What's he doing smelling it? And furthermore, the Medrash says that he smelled the smell of the generation of the, how do you call it, pogroms. After Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, there was a whole lot of troubles with the Malchus, with Rome, and they used to kill people left, right, and center if they kept Torah mitzvahs. And that was called Derech Shel Shmat. But nonetheless, the Yidden went on Mesiras Never, and they didn't stop keeping Torah mitzvah. Avamela, Hashem smelled the reach of that. As they stayed in the. There's three different things. So that's what he smelled when Noah offered up this code. Now, we need to understand what is going on here. Also, we need to understand what is the whole inyan of a korban. You take an animal or a bird, you light a fire on an altar, and you put the. I'm certain that Hashem is very, very pleased with this, and He gives, all sorts of ashpahs into the world and everything. What would Hashem want from a korban? What is it? In order to understand that, I'm dealing now with a very lengthy Indian, but we'll deal with it as brief as possible. Comes along the Ramban at the beginning of Sefer Vayikra, and the Ramban, that's what we talk mostly about the korbanos. And the Ramban says that when a man brings a korban, he should see and he should look at that korban, that everything they do to the behemoth, they're really doing to him.
The Ramban,
that's what he should be mizbainan, because since he sinned against Hashem, that's why he's bringing the korban, and he always sinned unwittingly, not deliberately. Nonetheless, the Ramban says, you sinned against the maker of the whole world. He said, it's due to you that you should be burnt and dead. It's due to you, all the things that they're doing, all the things they're doing to that behemoth, you should imagine that they're doing to you. Yeah. And this is a Mefurish Ramban, it's open, clear. So from that we see that the Ramban learns that a korban on the Mizbeach is really an inner message of what the mensch is really supposed to be doing in order to re-establish himself as a server of Hashem.
Does that also apply for regular shchita or only for korbanos? Does that apply also for regular shchita, the meat that we eat?
Shchita? Yeah.
Or is it only for korbanos?
You see, shchita, it's got all sorts of biurim and pnimis, what it means, you understand?
Right.
So he has to see all those things happening to him.
In shchita also?
Yeah, shchita also.
When,
Chas v'sholem.
Nowadays?
He doesn't have to go shechting himself. But he has to see in Ruchnias that these things were happening with him.
With the shochet?
Yeah.
Again and again and again and again. And
every
again.
time he brings a korban. So, ask yourself the question, what is this? You know, why would Hashem want this? You know, what is going on here? So it comes along I'm jumping over now a whole period of time. Comes along one of the great late period commentators, not from the Rishonim, and he says that the whole inyan of the rayat of a korban and everything to do with the korban is all ruchnias. And that everything that's written in the Torah is like symbols that lead us into the ruchnias of the inyan. Of all the korbanos were just like how would you call it, a making real in the physical world what was really happening and supposed to be happening in the spiritual world. So therefore he says that Hashem smells the sweet savor is that there's something occurring there which causes Hashem very profound tanug. You follow? So we just said before that a tanug, the Maggid said that Hashem only gets tanug from something that works against him, as it were. So that's the whole inyan. Comes along the Rabbi Yitzhak in his Sefer, the Kedushas Levi, and he brings down from his father, he quotes his own father, the B'ditzvah, and he says like this. He says that why doesn't Hashem ask, for example, the Malachim, the angels, to bring korbanos?
Don't they?
Well, we do find, the truth is, that we do find that Mechoel, that he's the Melech, Mechoel, he offers up neshamas on what's called a Mizbeach. Wow. Yeah. He puts all the neshamas, but that's in Yonim Ruchnim and Saliyas, although we don't find that the Malachim would offer up a korban.
They don't?
Don't find it.
Wow.
And we don't find any other situation where a person is offering up a korban, except if he fell into fault. If he did a sin, then he brings a korban. So the B'ditzvah says the whole inyan of a mensch was different between a mensch and all the other things in the whole creation, including the Malachim, is that a mensch has got a Yetzer Hara. A mensch has got something which works against Hashem. So since the korban indicates, according to the Ramban, that you are going through all what happens to the korban, then what you are doing, you're offering up in the korban your Yetzer Hara. You're taking that which caused the sin.
Oh, not, wow.
And you're doing to it all that should be done to the korban, and then it has a kapara through that, and then that makes it possible for you, as it were, to rebalance in your service of Hashem, and you gain a certain, what we might call kapara, or how to call it, atonement. So therefore he said, that's what it means that Hashem smells the sweet rayah. Hashem smells the rayah of the Yetzer Hara, which is working against him, offering itself up to him. Wow. And giving itself over to being slaughtered and all those things that are done to the korban. You follow? So Hashem said, that is emerson. That is really something. Here I got this Yetzer Hara. What the Gemara says in Masechta Sukkah, that Hashem is sorry that he created the Yetzer Hara. Hashem, how do you call it? Good. Hashem is mitcharet. Mitcharet means like you go back. You know, how do you call it? You're how to say mitcharet? You're sorry about that you did something. Hashem is mitcharet, that he created the Yetzer Hara. Because he says it's such a terrible tzorah for man and for the whole world, the Yetzer Hara. But nonetheless, he doesn't take it away. He's mitcharer, but nonetheless he leaves it there. It's a sign that something must be there, that Hashem has pleasure from the Yetzer Hara. He has pleasure from the Yetzer Hara when it offers itself up to him. That which is against him comes in, and therefore the Balaturim says an amazing thing, that this, which is written, this word Vayorach, that he smelled, such a verb in that tense is only used twice in the whole Torah. Here, Vayorach Hashem is Reich, and the second place is when how do you call it, Yaakov came in to get the blessings, and he was wearing Esau's clothes. You know that? He put on Esau's clothes. And it's written there that Vayorach Yaakov is Reah Begodol. Yaakov smelled the smell of his clothes. And so it comes along the Medrash over there, and it says, Al Tikra Begodol El Boigedol. Who is a boged, you know? A trader. A trader is a boged. It's a boigedol means people who are not beseder. And yet nonetheless it's written that Yaakov was Yorach, Yaakov is Reah Begodo, Al Tikra Begodo, Ela Boigdo. So everybody's going out of their category, what does this mean? But once again, who are the Boigdov? Boigdov are those who were not beseder, and they did tshuva, and they came back and they became servers of Hashem. It's all the same principle. By Yorah, Yaakov smelled that, because Yaakov's a big tzaddik, and he smells what Hashem smells. Wow. And so therefore, he smelled the reyach of the boigdov. And the Medrash gives a dogma. Who are these boigdov? Who are they? And the Medrash gives there was a guy, the Gemara tells the story, there was a guy called Yosef Mashiach. Most amazingly, he had a name called Mashiach. That was his family name. But he was called Yosef Mashiach, and he was a big Rosh. He was a big Rosh. So it's written that the Romans, when Titus conquered the Beis Hamikdash, before they destroyed it, they wanted to take out most of the Kalim and have them ready to take back to Rome with them. So they told this Yosef Mashiach, they called him, and they said, listen, we'll pay you big money, but you have the job of going into the Beis Hamikdash and drawing out all the Kalim and putting them ready for us to take into captivity. We're giving you that job. So he said, okay. So they said, big money. So he said, okay. And he goes into the Beis Hamikdash, and he brings out the menorah. And he puts it down, and then he stopped. And they said, no, keep going. They said, I'm sorry, but no more. He said, I've done what you wanted of me, no more. I'm not bringing any more Kalim, because these are the Kalim of Hashem's house. And I'm not going to bring you guys out anymore.
Why is it? How is Hashem? How is Hashem happy from offering a Yetzer Hara and not?
Just one second.
And not.
One second. So this Yosef Mashiach, he said, I'm not going in anymore. So Titus and the other guys, their eyes jumped out. And they said, what's happened with this guy? And he said, no more, you have to get somebody else, but not me. So they killed him on the spot. Yeah. So he's called Boigedol. The Medrash uses him as an example. He's the traitor. So the Medrash says, oh, what a traitor. He's the traitor that did so much tshuva that he stopped being a traitor and he became a garment of Hashem. Al tikra begodov ela boigedov. So we see that Hashem smelt that reyach through Yaakov Avinu because it was something that was absolutely against him, and it came back in a most amazing way. And he said, because of that, Hashem smelt the rare, and Hashem, as it were, had tainum. So we see from that, what is Hashem's tainum? You said, if it's just getting pretty heavy, what you want me to go into the base of meters and get my head cut off or something? What do you guys want from me? So, and it's written not only that the Maggid, the Berditcher brings that the Maggid was his Rebbe and the Alter Rebbe's Rebbe. And they learned at the same time. That the Maggid said, the Mezritcher Maggid, he said, why do I take, how do you call it, a splendor in the Jewish people? He said, I take splendor in the Jewish people because I got guys like this. This Yosef Mashiach guy. So what about all the tzaddikim and all the great people he got? And the Maggid said, Al Tikar Yosef brought an Al Tikar. And he said the word is poer, can also be without an aleph, and then it means like a garment. That Hashem, that's what we said, that Hashem's garment becomes such people. Hashem puts them on, and he's mitlavesh in there. And he says, he walks, Kaviyot, Hashem walks in front of the world, and he says, you see what a beautiful garment I have? That's what Hashem said. So this is getting pretty amazing. So, what is the whole thing? In a korban, there are two things, you follow? In a korban there's a raya, yeah? Like we said, it makes a raya. And then later, in the time of the Beis HaMikdash, people used to eat from the korban and the kohenim, except for oilers. Here was oiler. They didn't eat, but it's called lechem reach nechoyak l'Hashem. Lechem. That Kaviyot Hashem eats that lechem. However, if you eat something, then that becomes part of you, and that's called oir pnimi. How do you call it? Inner life. Reach is something that gets into what we call all-enveloping lights. It's called makiv. You ever heard of the word makiv? Mm-hmm. All-enveloping lights. For example, if somebody faints, then you can bring him back if you give him a very sharp smell. Or somebody collapses. Right. If you give him a very sharp smell, he can all of a sudden come back. So Chassidus says, what happens when a guy faints? He said, all the revealed parts of the soul all go back and they go into the makiv, the etzem nefesh, which is not part of the body and functioning of the body. It's higher and beyond. That's what's called the yechida. Heard of yechida? The yechida is not maluish, mamish in the body. As a matter of fact, the Mittler Rebbe says in a place that the yechida is like in 4 cubits all around you. Yeah. And by the way, when you walk on the street, your yechida walks with you. It's a whole amazing matter. Yeah.
There's a maisa?
So anyway, yeah. The yechida walks with you.
Could you say it?
The Mittler Rebbe.
Could you say the story?
Huh?
Could you say the story, please?
Who said this?
Can you say the story?
He wants you to tell the story.
Yeah, but if I tell all the stories, I'll never finish the class. You know?
But it's about Yechida.
Yeah. So anyway, the Yechida walks around you on the street. So, what happens is when you faint, all your revealed, or pnimi, goes back into the or makir of the nefesh. You follow? And if you give a person a strong smell, then the strong smell reaches into the pneumias, and it says, give me back my ur, into the makiv, I'm sorry. Reaches into the makiv, and it says, give me back my ur pneumi.
Like Avdallah?
And so then the makiv says, okay, here we go. It sends back the ur pneumi. Which means that the reya gets into the makiv. Yeah, therefore, in the Beis HaMikdash, which was higher and better, the Ketores or the Korbanos?
Ketores.
The Ketores was higher. Why? Because the Ketores was only inside. The Korbanos were outside, in the Chater. But the Ketores was only inside. Why? Because the Ketores said, yeah, what did Rabbi Shimon say about himself? He said that all my life, Bechad Katira Ish Katana. I have been bound up with Hashem with one knot. And the word Katira means a knot. And Kitoiras means a knot. But it means the knot between the very essence of Hashem and the essence of what a man really is. His essence and neshama. And therefore it's called Ketoret. It's a very profound linkage. And that's the Makiv. You follow, so the Ketoret is higher than all the other Korbanim. For that reason. So therefore he says, when you offer a korban, you're offering a korban. The altar brings it down in Torah, right at the end of Pasha Bereshis, right near the end, as far as the last few lines. The Alter Rebbe said that when there occurred the Mabul, everything stopped. All the usual divine hashpoyas all stopped. Everything went back into a Makiv. He said, how did Noah get everything working again? He said, that was through the korban that he offered up. And he said, the korban's got a rayach, and so the rayach went into the makiv, and it brought back all the opnimi.
So before he gave the korban,
there was nothing.
How is that?
Before he did the korban, it could be the world would have stayed. It could be the world would have stayed shamem. Yeah, is that the altar? And stayed in Torah. So we see from that the eating of the korban is also gets, and therefore food has also got a smell. One of the reasons your appetite is stirred up by your food is that you smell it first, and that wakes up your appetite. But that's a smell which leads to food. Food is what we call like an inner light, a limited light. So this is a makiv that's got to do with the panimi, and it's shy to give to the panimi. But the keteris is a emerson makiv, very, very high. Very, very elevated, and very, very high. And therefore, that's what Noah was after. He wanted to get into Hashem's raya. Yeah? He bought a korban. A korban, so he got to his food also. So how did he work that? So therefore comes along the Medrash, and the Medrash says that in Noah's korban, and I have to think carefully about it, it could be that Noah made this possible in all the other korbanos that would be offered in the world. I'm not sure. However, the Rebbe Rashab says in Ayin Beis that when Noah offered up that korban, he got into the makiv of the Keteres. He went beyond what a korban normally is. Favuish, Bikuish, and the Medrash says why? Because he made Mesiras Nefesh.
That was the clothing.
He said to Hashem, I want the world back, and if you're not prepared to give the world back, then take me with the korban. In other words, that he gave away his whole mahuz, his whole very self, he gave away. And what's the union from Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah?
Same thing.
The king said to him, bow down. They said, sorry, old man, not out. He said, into the Kivshan Oed. Fine, Kivshan Oed, Kivshan Oed. Avraham Avinu the same thing. Nimrod said, either you go back on what you say, I'm chucking in the Kivshan Oed. So Avraham Avinu said, okay, chuck me in the Kivshan Oed. Sure. You know the story with the Yerachim Kodesh.
Which one?
They threw him into a lion den.
Ah.
And they starved the lions for a whole day before.
And the lion didn't do anything.
And the lions just laid down and they never touched him. The Yerachim Kodesh. So the Yerachim Kodesh said the same thing. The king said to him, I'm going to throw you into the den of the lions. So the Yerachim Kodesh said, oh, okay, throw me into the den of the lions, Vaksha. So Noah's korban had that inside of him. And that's what the Medrash reveals. The Medrash is already not shut anymore. The Medrash is already Pneumisch Yedua, it's written in a Yom Yom. But the Medrash said that Noach had Mesiras Nefesh. Oh, Shalom Aleichem. What's the whole meaning for Yud Tes Kislev? The Alter Rebbe said that if you want to be Chassidus, and you want to have a Shaykhis to Chassidus, and you want to be in Chassidus, you got to have Mesiras Nefesh.